Okay, a lot has happened since I made my last video. In the last video, I expressed my bullishness about the markets, and I was convinced that we were still on a bullish market and that we were going to see prices going up still. That was a couple of days ago, and I think it was a day after I made that video, this huge drop happened. Now, as I've been telling you in the last couple of videos, the support level at around the $6,000 mark has been my concern point, my danger point that I've put there as a warning. If it reached that, or if it crossed that, then I would be really worried and consider the market bearish and get out if I could. Not that I am in the market at the moment. I don't actually have any Bitcoin. I have been only trading arbitrage with Bitcoin over the last while, but at the moment it's not very profitable. But anyway, as I said, just after I made my last video, I told you that the price of Bitcoin had crossed above the 50-day moving average, which was a good thing, and but soon afterwards it did a bit of a plummet, and as you can see, we came very close to touching the $6,000 mark twice in the last couple of days. I was pretty concerned, but then it seemed to recover a little bit, and as you can see, it shot up again and traded slightly sideways, and then we've had a little bit of a rise this morning again. But I want to show you a couple of things that I have noticed that that tend to keep me on the bullish side. I'm not very pessimistic about the markets yet. I think they are holding up pretty well. This is definitely quite a sell-off we're having, but there's a lot of resistance to it as well. One of the things I want to point out to you, you see these two yellow lines I've drawn here. When the market dropped, it left this huge gap. As you can see there's nothing drawn there, no candle, no nothing. It went from the top of that candle, as you can see there, the green candle. It fell from there. Let me just see if I can get a value for it. It's probably just above 6,550. Call it 6,550. It dropped to 6,000. Call it 6,470. It dropped that much without painting a candle in that space. Now, the way I have learned it, when a chart does this, at some point in time it's going to come back, it's going to return to fill that gap at some point. Now, as you can see right over here, this is what, we're on a 1 hour chart. About 3 hours ago, we had an incursion that actually, excuse me, it actually spread, it filled that gap between the two, but it has dropped again. So in my opinion, that doesn't count. This chart is going to come back to fill that gap up to around $6,550. Where it's going to go from there is a bit of speculation, but as you can see, I've drawn this triangle in the blue lines. I drew that yesterday or last night, and as you can see, look, it's a very rough thing, and it's only on a 1 hour chart. I wouldn't call it a downward trend or an upward trend. This is basically a pennant or a flag that is trading almost perfectly sideways, but it has broken out on the upside of the chart, and it has done pretty well since then. In the long term, I don't know if this is going to hold up, but what does give me hope that we are, or rather that pressure is building up and we are going to see a breakout, a decent breakout soon, is the fact that I think it must be at least 3 or 4 times now that Bitcoin has dropped and tested the $6,000 mark, and it hasn't broken it and stayed below it yet for any length of time. It might have just crossed it and briefly gone through it and come back up again, but it hasn't stayed down there for any length of time, which gives me pretty good confidence that that support level is strong, and it's not going to be broken that easily. The market doesn't want it to break that level. It's supporting it. People get a bit nervous when it gets that low, and maybe they see it as a buy opportunity, and as soon as it gets close or close to it or touching it, people start to buy, and that raises the price again. That gives me confidence that the market doesn't really want this price to drop down. Well, nobody does, but the market is not driving the price down. It's not market sentiment that's driving the price down. In my opinion, it could be bots trading, it could be market manipulation for bigger investors to come in still, who knows. But I think the market is proving to be pretty resilient to this sell-off, and I think the $6,000 level is going to hold, which is a good sign for me. I just want to change to a one-day chart and maybe see a lot more of the chart here quickly and see if it's forming a nice bottom. And let's just get this. Okay, as you can see, we are, why is that? Okay, there we go. As you can see, my little two yellow lines are right down the bottom there. So we've come down from this pretty decent sell-off now, and we've had this little bit of an uprise here. Now, that is too small to say for sure that we are on an upswing, but it really looks to me like things are slowing down. If you have a look at this, remember I spoke about the rallies that have failed or come down a number of times to meet the 6,000. We did it there. We came very close there, and we definitely did it there, and we've done it again here. Now, I watched another video by another guy that I highly respect. He's quite a talented chart reader, and his view is that, not 100%, but he views this as the third failed rally, and he sees at least a 75% chance that in the next couple of weeks we're going to see the price of Bitcoin fall below the $6,000 mark, and probably a fair bit lower. I can't argue with him. I'm not as experienced as him. I'm not as knowledgeable as him, so I just don't feel it. I've been watching these markets for a while, and I just don't see it happening. What I do see is the rises or the rallies getting smaller and smaller, which means if you drew a curve over the top of the rises, it's forming a bottom, almost like a cup and handle, that it is forming the bottom of the cup. You know, if you just look at the peaks, that to me, I don't know, it just seems a bullish sign to me. And the fact that we have tested the $6,000 level on a number of occasions now, and it hasn't stuck, it hasn't broken, and it hasn't stuck, gives me hope. And I'm confident that this bull market is about to start. We now know that the Bitcoin's market cap is over 50% of the market now. It's definitely increasing in popularity, which is another sign that things have to go better. I can't say I'm counting on it. Like I said, I don't have any Bitcoin at the moment, but I am really, or rather I should say, I'm really looking forward to a nice bull run, because the two exchanges that I use for arbitrage work well in a bull run. The one I use always lags behind the bigger exchanges, but when it runs, and its price actually runs ahead. It takes a while to catch up. You know, the movement happens on the bigger exchanges first, and then it happens on the smaller one where I normally sell my Bitcoin. But the movements are normally bigger, more exaggerated, and they last a bit longer when there's a decent run. At the moment, it's not quite. Although we're having this little run now, the difference, I could probably make a few bucks trading arbitrage now, but I'm waiting for a slightly bigger spread so that I can make a decent ROI on a transaction, and it doesn't take long. The way I do it, I can buy the Bitcoin, or rather I can fund my account, I can buy the Bitcoin on one exchange, send it to the smaller exchange where I sell my Bitcoin, and have the money in my account by the next morning at the latest, which is pretty good. So I can do this transaction once a day at least. So because I can only do it once a day, I want to make it as big as possible. And right now it is oh, it might be profitable, but if the market changes just slightly on the small exchange where I sell the Bitcoin, it could turn on me and I could be sitting with some Bitcoin at a loss until the price rises again there. And as we know, the market is very volatile at the moment. It might drop further. The chances are always there that it can drop further. And then I might sit with it for a while. And right now, I am largely invested in another crypto. Liquidity is not that high at the moment, so I can't afford to have money sitting on an exchange in the form of Bitcoin or any other coin at the moment. I need to be able to look at it and know that because it takes me roughly maybe a half an hour to do the entire thing, I must basically know that in the next half an hour there's going to be no change, or at least maybe even an improvement in the spread. Then I'll go ahead and I'll do the transaction. Right now it's a little bit dodgy and I'm not going to do it. But to sum up, I am still optimistic about Bitcoin. As you can see, this original trend line that I've drawn here, it has dropped way down off that trend line. It's not following that trend line anymore. It might bounce back up to it very quickly, but chances are slim. But I'm still optimistic. This $6,000 support level is holding strong at the moment. It's proving to be strong, and that gives me a lot of hope that we are maybe reaching the bottom. I don't think it. I've said this many times. I don't think it can go much lower than this, but it always does. But at some point we are going to reach a low point, and where the market is going to start increasing. Where we are now, it's looking good. We've had some decent increases this morning. My time, I'm a little bit ahead of most of the world. So yeah, let's see what happens when the bigger markets open and people wake up. That's about it for Bitcoin at the moment. I'll catch you in the next video. If you enjoy my content, please like and share my video. Hit that bell icon to get notifications of my new videos. And yeah, let's hope we can make some money out of this soon.